within this person so that this particular energy and then physical ailment never comes back again.
By myself playing with plants and things, it felt like I'm a little weird. Like I'm avoiding people.
You're weird.
Yes, I am.
That's got to be okay, see? This is what we were talking about earlier. You got to be in approval of the fact that you're weird because you already sort of identify with that as a personality trait.
Yes.
So we can't try to change you into an okay, normal person. You got to become okay with being weird as hell.
Okay. I feel I can do that.
So I got inspired to write my first book, and I did that, and it took off. And my career has been like an explosion ever since that day.
That was the beginning of Teal Live, was her book, The Sculptor in the Sky, you know. Yeah, so we just started getting her out there. Like, let's do a weekly video series called Ask Teal, and people can write in questions and we can answer them, and just do it every week. And that was kind of the springboard, because YouTube is immediate international audience, you know. It was, and now it's like coming up on 7 million views and 90,000 subscribers, and it's just the beginning.
So my son, I call him my catalyst. It's kind of ironic because, you know, within the world, I'm known as the spiritual catalyst, but to me, in my life, he's mine. And more than a few times when I'm really struggling, he's been the reason that I've been alive.
So what did you just have to go through to earn that?
Nothing. That's not.
So it wasn't earned. That's the problem, right?
Yeah, what she just said. If I don't understand, like, this is going to be big for people who are like having this reception issue. If I don't understand like what I did to deserve it, yeah, you have to earn it. Yes, have to earn it. No.
It's a thing that where you can't be happy, you know, because if you're happy, there's a consequence right after, like sometimes. I met Teal at the Santa Barbara workshop. It was about a year ago, and it was the best day of my life. And from there, I decided that I was going to move here. And I got here, and it was completely amazing. Changed my whole life. The person I was when I got here is completely different to the person I am right now. Before that, I was a hermit. I'll admit it. Seriously, I was so depressed that I would I wouldn't get out of bed. I recently found out that there was mental, physical abuse in my family, and it's really quite traumatic. I could literally fade into the background when I first got here. I was quiet, I would keep away from people, I would stay away, I was so afraid. It was nothing like the person I am right now. Right now I think I'm coming more into the person that I am. There's still more, I can feel it. I'm still hiding some stuff.
I've even got a few Facebook posts from people, asking about Teal, asking to find out her darker side or her evil side or the stuff that, that people don't know about. And I'm like, well, there's nothing really to tell that she doesn't expose herself. What she's doing is what she feels and what she sees and what she knows in her heart, and that's all that comes out. She's not doing it for any sinister or evil purpose, and it's weird. It's funny that people think that.
I think for the sake of a good bout of self-exposure here, I will tell you that the most painful thing that a human being could say to somebody who came through a cult experience is that they're leading a cult. It's my least favorite thing that people say about me. It destroys me. At the same time as it hurting, I also wish that people knew more about the criteria for a cult. What I do is empower the individual. That is the exact opposite of what a cult can do. In fact, a cult can't exist unless one person is empowered and the rest of them are unempowered. Besides, you know, teaching people to trust themselves, that's your recipe for loss of control. So unless I'm the worst cult leader that ever existed, you know. But I mean, it sucks to hear.
The only
don't have
thing
to worry
anybody's
about
ever thinking about is themselves. Do you know that?
No, sometimes I don't think that way, I guess.
It makes it really easy to step on stage once you realize that.
Yeah.
Most people here aren't thinking about me. Did you know that? They're thinking, and they're not thinking about you. They're thinking about themselves.
I was thinking about myself too earlier.
Yeah, so
that
like
makes sense.
Yeah. So do you see how much more freedom that gives you if you realize that that's where everybody is? They're in
Yeah.
that space.
Mhm.
And when you shake hands with them, they're going, "Oh my gosh, I hope my lipstick isn't smeared. Oh my gosh, did these pants fit? Oh my gosh, he's probably gonna think I'm stupid. Oh my gosh, how do I sound smart?" Yeah.
That's so true. Thank
So
you.
do you feel the freedom? That's a perspective, you see, and you can talk yourself into that perspective, and it's just a practice. It's going to happen incrementally. But the next time when you walk out the door or you meet somebody new in the crowd today, when you meet that person, I want you to remind yourself, guess what? They're thinking the same thoughts I'm thinking. They're worried about whether they're going to measure up to me.
Mhm.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah, that is. I mean, it makes me feel a lot more comfortable.
I think that the issue is that people distrust themselves to such a degree that they feel like it's possible for them to fall into a cult or possible for other people to fall into a cult. I don't feel like if this was an empowered race of individuals who trusted their own emotional guidance system, which is what I'm hoping to teach people to do, that they would be worried about what someone else did or didn't do.
There's a lot of different thoughts and images and visions, and it feels so weird to me. Like, it's, where does it comes from? And there's like this internal war between those two aspects. I just want to know what is true, what to believe to.
Ah. What if I told you that there is no truth?
It's not my wish for people to adopt absolutely everything that I say as their gospel. Then we've just created another religion. In my ideal scenario, people would be creating a cocktail of what works for them individually. And if people thought about religion, thought about spirituality, thought about their lives in general that way, then there would be no fear resident in people's beings for somebody to be able to create a system of control over their minds or bodies. I'm the one that knows that better than anyone, because it doesn't take much for you to be controlled. All you have to do is to believe that you don't or can't trust yourself.
But what Teal did to me over the last 10 years is this kind of like laser like focus on myself. She's like, you know, what do you feel about that? You know, do what you love, do what you feel. Don't do it because of me or anybody else. And I needed that.
I've seen her with no walls, just not afraid to be herself, and that's given me permission to be myself. I don't know, it's just, she's inspiring to me. She brings out that joy in me. I see her constantly struggling and dealing with her childhood and all that. And it's just amazing that she's able to like get up each day. And I think I see that, and it gives me strength to be like, okay, if she can do it, I can do it.
I think the one thing people need to hear if they're suffering is that there's absolutely nothing wrong with you. That there is a valid reason for the way that every single person feels. What hurts us the most is not the emotions we have, it's our resistance to the emotions that we have. If we're in a state of grief, what pains us the most is not the grief itself, it's the fact that we don't let ourselves grieve. And we live in a society which doesn't let us grieve and wants us to get over it.
I also see her as still in a healing process. I mean, she's been healing since the day I met her, and she's been getting better every day since the day I met her. And I don't really see her as someone that just up and stops the healing process. Oh, I'm good now. I think I'll stop. No, I think she's gonna keep that going until she's probably dead.
So for us, there are times where we're just like, we're just hoping that she can find joy because we love her, and that she can bring herself into the present and really find her energy to help people and not feel so much pain anymore.
If you were to be standing right now in front of the whole world, everyone is watching, what would you tell them?
The first time I draw a blank in my life? Are you kidding me? This is like the perfect scenario. Oh God, let me think. I gotta think of something good. I would say there's no way to get your life wrong. There is no way to get your life wrong. And no matter what, you can't get life done because we're always in the continual process of expansion. So if you can't ever do this life wrong and you can't ever finish, reach that finish line, then think about what matters in your life. When you're in resistance to yourself, you're in a living hell. So what I would want people to know if they're in a space of suffering is that it's okay to not be okay. I think I'm still alive today because I used my willpower to get myself away from my situation, and then I realized that willpower was nothing but resistance, and so I gave my willpower up for a sense of allowing. And I decided that I wanted to live a life of softness instead of hardness. And I found out that in a state of liquidity or fluidity, in the softness, when you let something break you open, there is a strength there which nothing can possess and nothing can break.
right, let's stop share for a second. I had the sound, when I did that before, I had the sound not right. It wasn't right. So let me see if I can do something here. Okay. So I'm just going to summarize at the end. It looks like the sound is on. We were looking at MK Ultra, mind control, and ritual abuse, cult abuse, SRA victims and survivors. So we looked at Kathy O'Brien. We've looked at Trance, her movie, talked about her 2 books, Transformation of America, Access Denied for Reasons of National Security. We also looked at Fiona Barnett, a Candy Girl documentary, 2015, an Australian experience of ritual abuse and mind control. I'm going to post her book because I have the PDF on my computer, Eyes Wide Open 2020 Lockdown Edition. And her website is fionabarnett.org and pedophilesdownunder.com. We looked at Arizona Wilder, interview with David Icke, 1999. Her real name is Jennifer Green. And I think I've read about her in other books. And, I think that's really good. David Schroeder, by coincidence, I saw him in a video today, and he's living in Iowa. So, I really can relate to his story because I saw his video, I read his book, and then I went to some of the places in his book, like Hummel Park and Forest Lawn Cemetery and a Boys Town around Omaha when I lived in Iowa. So I think his book was really good too, Rabbit Hole 2012. So check that out. Teal Swan, Open Shadow, we just saw that. So I'm updating the second part with sound. All right, so all of you that were cussing me, there's no sound. I know that's frustrating, and that's just like a technical error that I made. But what I admire about Teal Swan, like she had a really horrific childhood, but she focused on healing. So she has a lot of scars and tattoos and like a lot of trauma, but she focuses on healing and she became a healer. And she talks about it. She's a teacher. So she raises awareness about awareness and education about cult abuse in the Mormon church. And then Anna K. Lucas, we just checked out Sean Stone's Best Kept Secret, there's 6 episodes, and Anna K. Lucas is in there, and she's from Belgium, and she knows a lot about that, the politics there and stuff like that. And she has a TED Talk 2017. You can find that. From Child Sex Slavery to Victory, My Healing Journey. And then her book, Quest for Love, Memoir of a Child Sex Slave, 2022. Okay, so let me just go through these slides because I have them up. We're also going to look at Mary Knight and her book. Like I have her book on my, it's up next after I finish 22 Personalities. I'm almost done with that. I'm going to read her book and then go over her video. But Kathy O'Brien, these are all my heroes for coming forward and telling about their life experience. Fiona Barnett, that's who I learned about second. I'll say Arizona Wilder because I think I read the greatest secret or the biggest secret from David Icke, and he talked about her in there. And then I think I came across David Schroeder, okay, in Omaha. And I think I saw his video on YouTube and then I read his book. And then I lived in that area and I went and was seeking out those things. What's interesting about David Schroeder's story is it's related to, the Johnny Gosch story, why Johnny can't come home. There's a 2024 updated edition with by Noreen Gosch. I guess what is inspiring about that is his mom never gave up on him. And he did come home, she said one time, and she got to visit with him. And he may or may not still be alive. I have a feeling he is still alive, but I don't know that for sure. And then let's see, the Franklin scandal and the Franklin cover up. So it's really about all the human trafficking going on in the Midwest, specifically Des Moines and Omaha, Nebraska. And I grew up in St. Louis, Missouri, and I have family in Kansas City. I've been all over Missouri, so I can kind of relate. A lot of the kids that get kidnapped in the Midwest get trafficked to Washington D.C., New York City, or they get trafficked to like Las Vegas and Los Angeles and Hollywood, and then all around the world. So the trafficking networks are national and international, and uh, um, as was said before by Kathy O'Brien, human trafficking is the funding mechanism of the New World Order. Okay, and then Open Shadow, the story of Teal Swan. I can relate to that a lot because I lived in Salt Lake for 6 years. I went to University of Utah. I lived by Sugar House Park. I used to run there. I've been to Great Salt Lake many times. I used to run down there. I ran 3 marathons when I lived there in St. George, Utah, 94, 95, and 96. So I lived there between 92 and 98. And I think Roseanne grew up there, and so did Stevie Nicks. I know Stevie Nicks also lived in Phoenix, but um, there's uh, I understand like the from living in Utah about the culture there, and I went to a workshop there with Laura Worley and her husband Steve, and that was really good. That was a couple of years ago out by the airport at one of the hotels there, and all the people there were victims of cult abuse except for me. Like I was really there as a researcher to learn more about Laura Worley because I read her 2 books, and also the healing process, and then she's finishing her 3rd book now, and I actually did an interview with her. She interviewed me, but the sound was all messed up, so I think they were messing with us. So she does a lot of good interviews on her Rumble channel. Okay, I think that's all I can really think of right now. So I think I'll cut it, and I'll re-upload this for people to see and hear. So I'll check this out again this time. So sorry about that, and have a good day.